Okay, so YouTube says we're live. Oh, you know what? It's doing that weird thing on me again. Oh well, we're live.
Yay.
Hello, I am here with Marisa. Do you go by Marisa E. Cardin or just Marisa Cardin? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I've published under Marisa E. Cardin, so I
Fine.
answer to both.
There you go. Tonight we're going to be talking about her series that she's got going on, uh, future plans that she's got, and I would like to touch a little bit on the book fairs. This is my first book fair that I'll be doing, so I'm pretty excited about that. Let me pull up the chat. There we go. Alrighty, I guess let's dive into it. Okay, so
Sweet.
I've I've got to ask about the World of Warcraft fan fiction.
Oh, yeah, I know. Everybody asks about
Well,
that. I keep thinking I should take it out of my bio, but it's so funny that I don't want to.
yeah,
So,
well, did you
tucked
ever
away.
did you ever publish it anywhere?
No, I didn't because it's based off of it's my own like original characters, but it's based off of a raid. I don't know if you've played
Mm,
WoW.
Yeah, yeah, World of
Yeah,
Warcraft, EverQuest, I played them all. So,
yeah. I played it from when I was in like seventh grade or eighth grade or something crazy like that, on and off, like until now. Like I still sometimes play it, but I didn't publish it anywhere because it's based off of the um, like Deathwing raid and Cataclysm in that expansion, and
yeah.
so it's like half that stuff isn't. I didn't come up with it, so I think Blizzard would
Well,
sue me.
you can do like
They notice.
I have a fan fiction of Star Trek on Wattpad. In fact, there's a lot of fan
Very
fiction on
cool. Yeah.
Wattpad.
Oh yeah. I mean I do have it on Archive of Our Own, which is similar to Wattpad. It was like a little bit later than Wattpad, but it's up there. People can DM me. I'll send you a link.
Oh yeah,
You guys can read it.
I would definitely like to read it.
I can't promise that it's any good. I wrote it when I was 16, so
Eh.
I'd like to think I've become a better writer since I wrote that.
Well, the fan
But
fiction
yeah,
I have on
that's
Wattpad, I wrote in 2016, and I've come
yeah,
a long way since then. So I'm rewriting Seven, which is
yeah,
a book I have on Wattpad, and then after I get done with Seven, I want to rewrite the other two because leaps and bounds, man. I
yeah.
read
I like to kind of keep it as a bookmark. Like it's interesting to go back and see like
how far you come from.
how much I've grown as a
Yeah,
writer. Yeah, because I know I have, so it's really cool.
yeah. I went back and reread Seven, and it was cringy. It's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, this
I
is
haven't
stupid.
reread my I haven't reread my I have a lot of fan fiction up in the depths of the internet, and I haven't reread a lot of it since I wrote it because I'm afraid. But it exists there. I haven't taken it down, so
Maddie Bloom, hey, AO3 is the place to go for
Maddie.
fanfic. That all sounds incredible. What's is
Yeah,
AO3? What's that? Is that the
yeah. It's Archive of Our Own, and it's AO3 because it's three O's of
oh,
our own.
so
Yeah,
AO squared or no, a cubed?
Oop, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's. I think Wattpad was the first big one, and then AO3 and fanfic.net were kind of like around the same time. Um,
Archive of.
I don't know why I was an AO3 girly.
Hmm?
Just liked it the best, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one. Definitely send me the link to that. So,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
also
Fun.
okay. So I find it awesome that so many authors use their writing as a way to heal and grow. Um,
Mhm.
I where was I? In fact, I've used quite a bit of mine as kind of a therapeutic element. Like Seven is written about every character in Seven is based on somebody I know in real life, and
Yeah.
I wind up killing most people in my books. But
Oh, I get
so
it.
what kinds of ways have you grown through the development of your stories?
I'd say one of the biggest. I find that I'm using like when I'm writing kind of in a therapeutic way, like I'm oftentimes not even meaning to, but like putting these characters in similar situations that I either am currently in or was in the past, trying to kind of like figure that out. And it's interesting to kind of find the answer for myself while putting them in those same situations. And they're figuring it out for themselves.
Yeah, I guess that'd be a great way to like
Yeah.
test the waters of different ways of I could do that. Problem is, anything
Yeah.
I write is dark, so someone's dying a horrible
Yeah.
death.
It depends on my stuff. Like my current series, I wouldn't call it like, it's a sci-fi trilogy. I wouldn't call it like crazy dark, but I'm working on the third book right now. And I'm like halfway through it, and it's starting to get like a little bit darker than I was expecting it to. But it makes, there's a war happening. It makes sense. So
Yeah, I like
yeah,
the dark side.
yeah, me too.
Neil asks, "Do you still have the hedgehog?"
Yes, I do. I do. His name's Littlefoot. He is 4.5 now. I would get him, but he's asleep. He sleeps during the day, and it's still like a little bit light out, so I don't want to disrupt him. He's an old man, so he just sleeps, but he's a good little buddy.
Oh, I didn't even know you had a
Yeah,
hedgehog. I missed that part.
I do.
No,
Yeah, I have.
I
I have
guess
a lot of
I'm.
critters.
I guess I'm lame. I would have to call him Sonic.
Yeah, everybody asks if his name is Sonic, and he's I don't know if you know the Land Before Time series.
Yeah.
It was dinosaurs, but Littlefoot is the name of the main dinosaur. So I just thought that was cute.
Kitty
I love
says.
that series. So
Katie C says, "Pet hedgehog. That's so cool."
yeah,
I have a. I
it's fun.
have a bearded dragon.
Oh, that's cool. I have a gecko, so
Oh, cool.
I love the weird pets. And then I have cats because that's like totally normal, but some weird ones.
Maddie says, "I love Land Before Time." Land Before Time. Oh my! When my sister,
Yeah.
my much younger sister, that was one of her favorite movies. We watched it over and over and over.
Yeah.
Oh, here's
I don't
Shadow.
even know how many times I've seen
So
Evie,
that
are you
first one
gonna
that
talk
walked
to
past, that orange one that walked past was Sabia.
Yeah.
This is Shadow. This is the one that's like in every freaking video.
Love it.
No, there's not enough room for everybody on my lap.
There's
Shadow,
another
look.
cat.
Shadow.
You
Oh,
see? Look.
Kitty,
Friend.
look, there's Kitty. She doesn't care.
Like,
She's not having it.
wow.
Fine. I wish mine
Wow.
was a short
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah, I have two long hairs and one short hair. So
Yeah, I've got
she's
nothing
least
but long
shiny,
hairs.
for sure. Yeah.
Sabi and Logan are
Beautiful,
the other
but
two.
they're
Anywho,
yeah.
let's see.
Anyway,
Jennifer Decker says, "Hi, kitties, hi." And kitties everywhere.
yeah. There's so many.
Banana bread. Okay, so we also have oh, that's why all the cats are down here. Banana bread's upstairs. Banana bread is my daughter's bulldog, English bulldog.
Very cute.
The cats don't like her. So
Aww.
everybody's down here with me.
Yeah. Love it.
Let's see. So it says, you've been writing since the 5th grade and eventually received your BA in creative writing at 2 separate universities. That's kind of cool. How much of an impact would you say that having your BA makes on your writing overall? Because I know that I do have people in the audience who are going to school for it, and I myself recently finished a master class that was incredibly beneficial.
Congrats.
So,
Okay.
how much of
Yeah.
an impact did the BA make on you?
I would say it was helpful because I focused on creative writing. So it wasn't just like English overall, it was a BA in creative writing. And it was definitely helpful in kind of figuring out what I wanted to write, like what genres I wanted to write, and like really getting my footing with like my style of writing. I'm still debating whether or not it was worth it in like the publishing sense, because I personally like didn't really find that I learned a lot about publishing through that degree. Um, it was definitely more focused on just like the craft, which is awesome. But a lot of the publishing stuff, I kind of just have had to figure out on my own.
Yeah.
So
I think that,
kind of mixed personally. I don't know that it was. I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot. I'm if I had the opportunity to do it again, I'm not sure that I would have gone that route.
oh,
But yeah,
yeah, that's good to know. I know
but
that.
I don't know.
Well, I think Nia was working on her master's, and Diana was
That's
also.
awesome.
So, but I
Yeah,
don't.
and I mean this was undergraduate, so I imagine that like a master's program would be incredibly beneficial, and I've really considered going back to school and doing that. Whenever I kind of get that itch, I'm like, I should get my master's, but I don't know yet. I don't know.
I don't have time for that.
It is a lot of time. Yeah, it's a lot of time. So,
Well, I was thinking about going back and getting one of my degrees, but I'm like, I don't have with everything that I manage. It's just going to be that's not going to happen. So
yeah, for sure. That's what's so hard is I love school. I love learning. I love working towards a goal. That's a really big goal. That takes a long time.
well,
I know
it's
because it took
still
me 5 years to do the first one.
that's still pretty cool that you got your BA. Did you get a? So did you get a separate degree from both colleges, or did you just move from one college to another?
I transferred, so it was just one degree. I ended up doing 3 years at Western State University in Gunnison, Colorado, and then I transferred to Metro State University in Denver and finished it. But it was just one degree.
Cool.
So, but I loved my time at Western. It felt weird to me like not including that. So,
Oh,
and I especially because I did the majority of the degree there. So
that's cool.
yeah.
Let's see. Neil asks, "Did your poetry collection 2021 influence your writing for Jack's Castaway?"
Yes, I wrote them. I actually wrote them at the same time. I started writing Jax when I was in high school. Still, I got the idea for it, and then it was kind of like on and off. I was working on it periodically throughout my undergrad, and then actually finished it and published it in 2022. But the poetry collection, I was working all of those poems I was working on throughout my undergrad. Not to get like dark, but I guess it's out.
Yep.
Fine. I was trigger warning. I won't get too into it. But I was in a pretty abusive relationship for a lot of my early 20s during my undergrad. And it was only looking back on that, like once I was out of it, it was only looking back on that I was like, yikes, that was a lot, like pretty hard stuff. And I found that writing kind of like helped me during it and after it, kind of like put the pieces together and figure it out. And I like the poetry collection is just all poems that I was writing during and after that period of time. And so it's all about the same, it's all about domestic violence, like that subject. And those points kind of come up in Jax as well, because he's not in a relationship like that, but his relationship with his father is very abusive in a similar kind of way. Kind of just snuck its way in there, and I decided to keep it because it matched with his character, and I actually had that idea for his character before I ever had those experiences personally.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, well, you know what? I don't even have to do any research about this. I can just write from my own experiences, so I just kept it in there. So they kind of overlap in that way, but I didn't set out to write this sci-fi series. Like, that was just like a little side point that happened to become really important for his character development. So
That's cool. Well, it's
I
cool.
hope that answers the question. It's long-winded.
Yeah. It's cool that you were able to take such a negative thing and turn it into a kind of a positive, though. Like I'm kind of sad that you
Yeah,
had to go through all that, but you turned around and made something great out of it. So
yeah. I mean, that's all I can do. So yeah, it's okay. It was a long time ago, and I think just in general, like I've always kind of done that. Even with like little, not like really big experiences like that, but little like, oh, I had a stressful day, like whatever. I kind of find myself echoing that in a lot of my writing anyway, so just kind of how I do it.
yeah, cool. Uh,
Yeah.
Ne- Neil says I learned more about publishing from outside of grad school and undergrad. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would
That's,
add more of the publishing aspect of it, because like especially with marketing, uh,
yeah.
no one's going to read your book if they don't
Oh my
know it
God, yeah.
exists. And so,
All of the marketing stuff I do for myself, and I have learned just trial and error, and I'm still learning it. Like I'm still kind of figuring it out. Um,
yeah,
it helps that I do marketing for my day job, and so I kind of like steal little
yes,
ideas from
yeah.
that and like use it for myself. So whatever.
Oh,
I know
I've
not
done
everybody
that.
has that, so it's cool. Yeah,
We'll use what we learn. You do have. I
yeah.
did notice on Instagram that you had the little thought bubble, and then it had the interview tonight with the link. Like, how the hell did you do that?
Hmm.
That was kind of
Wait,
cool.
which I don't know. How did I do that?
I don't know. It was neat.
Oh,
It
was
was
it
on
on my
this.
story maybe?
No, it was on Instagram. It was just your profile
Oh,
picture.
yeah. Yeah, it's like you can add a note to it if you go to your profile. There's like a little plus button. I don't know if
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't really see it on there, but it just adds a note. See, I'm figuring this out. I didn't know I could do that like
I
a few
did
weeks
it.
ago. I wouldn't have ever thought to do it. So
I saw
yeah,
it. I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do that. That's
yeah.
whatever.
Well, I'm so my day job. I work at a music school, so I'm friends with tons of musicians, and I noticed that they were always doing that like 7 p.m. gig tonight at wherever, and I was like, oh shit, I should steal that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's kind of where I got that
Well,
idea.
now I'm
For
going
the
to steal
musicians.
it.
Yeah. Sometimes musicians have good ideas. Sometimes.
Jennifer says having your experiences inform your empathy is and understanding is such a beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you.
Um, See, that sounds like such a fun day job from Maddie.
They're pretty chaotic, but it's fun. Kids music lessons, so
Yeah, there you
yeah.
go.
But it's cool
Let's
because all my stuff I do is arts related, so that's awesome.
yeah. Your
Yeah.
series of books, they're sci-fi. It's the now
Yes.
is it officially the Jack's Castaway series or is it a Shadows series?
It's called the series is called Jack's Castaway and the Shadowrunners. And each book, like the first book, I love that name so much. I just kept it as Jack's Castaway and the Shadowrunners. The other books are like they have like separate titles.
Yeah, I kind of like the name Jax too. I was using it when I was playing Dungeons and Dragons back in the
Yeah,
'90s.
nice, nice. Yeah, I was just talking the other day. Like I love making my character names in this series like within the realm of possibility of like I don't know like real names that could exist in the world, but just a little bit sci-fi. So I feel like I could theoretically meet a Jax, but I haven't yet. So it seems like appropriately sci-fi for me.
That's cool. Yep,
Yeah.
for me it was fantasy, and I was like back in the '90s. I was also big into Highlander, so it was Jax McCloud. Oh,
Very
what a
nice.
dork
Yeah.
I was.
I am still.
So, what can you tell us about your books without giving too many spoilers away? And your third book comes out next year, right?
Yeah, I was originally hoping for January of 2025 because the other two came out in January of this past January and then 2022. So I thought that would be cool if they could all come out on the first of the year. But it's becoming a little bit more of a project than I anticipated because it's the last book in the trilogy. So I have like so many things
Gotta
that I
wrap it
need
up.
to tie up. Yeah, so I think it'll still come out in 2025, but probably like spring or early summer. I'm imagining.
And it's
So
is there anything you can tell us about it without?
yeah. Um, Actually, I can tell you a lot. There's a lot that takes place before the book starts. Um, so originally, when I started the idea, I wanted to kind of play with this idea of like what would happen when humans inevitably fuck up Earth and need to go and colonize other planets. Because I'm a big Star Trek fan too.
Oot.
Um,
Got my picture right here.
so
Deep Space Nine.
yeah. Oh, nice. Um, So essentially, this series starts centuries and centuries after the people of Earth, they call it Old Earth, after the people of Old Earth have left and colonized these two other planets, Andartia and Serona. And you can kind of think of them as like Andartia is kind of like Mars-like surface, and Serona is really similar to Earth. And so the people from Earth split onto these two planets, and things are going really well for a while, and then they start, of course, a resource war with each other. And from there, things they fight this war, and things just kind of get really out of hand. And the book starts. The first book starts 50 years after the war has ended. Jax is the main character. He's under the impression that all of the Seronians were wiped out in the war, like they were monsters. The Andartians had no choice but to kill all of them. And then he intercepts a message from where in space he knows Serona is, and the message just says help. And so now he's left with all these questions of like, who is sending messages from what should be a dead planet where we've just been going and getting resources but nobody lives there? Why did I get it? How can I go and help or figure out who sent it? Yeah,
Fun. Yep,
yeah,
that's probably definitely one I want to have to wind up buying.
love
Well,
it. You can message me anything about it. I love hearing everybody's thoughts.
well,
That's like
cool.
the dream.
I will do so. Which you're planning on bringing both of those to the um book fair?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, cool. I might have to set aside some cash.
Yeah, I will bring them. They will be there.
Let's see. I know for me, I have like the next 6 or 7 projects mapped out. Once I publish my next book is a dark western. I mostly don't write dark fantasy, but my brother-in-law talked me into
Mm-hmm.
trying a western, and everything I write is dark. So
Nice.
I decided to go with the dark
That's
western.
nice.
It was actually a really fun book to write. But
Yeah, yeah, totally.
like for me, I know I have like after Shadows, I'm working on publishing Fury, which is the second in my fantasy series, and then I'm
Mhm.
finishing 7, and like I have a roadmap of the next 7 things that I plan on doing in
Yes.
succession. Do you ever think that way, or do you just shoot from the hip?
I do a little bit of both. I I have a lot of books that are kind of on the back burner that I've got cooking that I don't quite feel ready to write yet for whatever reason. I don't want to dive into another longer thing until I finish this one because it feels like I'm cheating on it almost. Like it feels like I just can't like
Oh yeah,
separate myself
I
into
get it.
two big worlds like that. Um, I've, I wish I could just like write this series and then move on to the next one and then move on to the next one. But I find that like things just come up and then I'm like, well, I guess I have to write that now. Like for like years after this series was done, my next plan was like, okay, I'm gonna write a long fantasy, like high fantasy,
Mhm.
like Game of Thrones style
Yeah.
type thing. And that has been on the back burner for literally years. But then like a week ago, I had this idea to write this like apocalyptic, like zombie type novellas set in Appalachia, and I can't get the idea out of my head, so nobody steal it. because that's what I'm gonna do next, I think.
Yeah.
Because I just can't stop thinking about it, and I know it's not gonna shut up until I sit down and do it. Because that's how it was with Jax too.
Yeah. I like
So a little bit
zombies
of
in the
both.
mountains. Mountain men
Yeah,
zombies. All right.
yeah. It just seems fun to write and research. Like, just so interesting.
Yeah, like when I wrote
Spooky.
Shadows of Atlantic City, I spent a lot of time researching Atlantic City in 1874. So,
Ah, that's so cool.
there's a lot of research in it, and I still have a lot to go. Like right now, I'm editing. I finished the first draft, and I'm editing right now, and it was so much fun. Like I
Yeah.
love doing that kind of stuff. So, is your zombie apocalypse in the Appalachia, is that futuristic or
I don't know yet. I think it
uh,
probably will be. I think it'll be like near future, not so distant future type thing.
that'd be fun.
Kind of what I'm imagining. And again, I thought of this like 2 weeks ago, so it's
Well,
very new. But
pin that one.
yeah,
Let's see. Maddie says that sounds so up my alley. I can't wait to read it. And that's for your Jack's Castaway books. Yeah, it sounds like something
love it.
I'd groove into. Neo
That's awesome to
asks.
hear.
See, you're already getting fans here. Neo asks, will you have more glow in the dark rocks that you painted?
Yeah, I will. I actually, the last event I went to, I didn't sell any,
Oh,
so I still have like 20. So yeah, I'll have more.
yeah. If I bring my daughter,
Yeah,
she'll buy a bunch. My daughter's big into rocks and glow in the dark. So, like,
but
what kind of things do you
the
paint on the
reason
rocks?
that I just had like one design where I painted like uh the city where Jax is from on Andarcia, and that planet is so dusty, like the atmosphere is so filled with sand and dust and stuff that they can't see the stars at all.
Mm.
And he's a little short, and all he wants, his like life goal at the beginning of the book is just to see the stars and the constellations, and so the glow in the dark part is just like the stars on the rock.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so
Well, I feel kind of lame because I don't have anything like that.
that was just an idea I had. I was like, I don't know if anyone's gonna like this, but I had fun painting them, and
Well, I know.
yeah.
Let's see. When my mom published her book, I have a coffee mug behind me that has my mom's book cover on it.
Mm-hmm.
So she went all out.
That's cool.
Posters. She has a necklace that has an angelic symbol that's in the book on it. Um,
Very
I'm like,
cool.
I feel kind of lame. You've got cool glow in the dark rocks. I
Yeah.
have nothing.
I honestly, I think like I just got on the like merch book swag train like a couple of months ago, and I just kind of have been trying like a bunch of different things and seeing what people like, and trying not to spend like a ton of time and money on it until I know that it's like something people are gonna like. Because sometimes they don't, and that's fine. So
So is this
you
stuff
never know.
is this stuff that you make, or do you have like a distributor?
I paint the rocks myself. I make bookmarks. I just like design them on Canva, which is a free like design. There's a free version and there's a paid version. You know about Canva.
Canva's
Yeah,
awesome.
Canva is awesome. I designed all my book covers on Canva. Like,
Nice.
this is not sponsored, but I love Canva. Yeah, I design the bookmarks on Canva and then take them to FedEx and print them and cut them out myself and laminate them myself. So I do like a mix of both. I use Sticky Brand for stickers, and they've been really cool. They're really affordable too. They're like $25 for like 100 stickers that are like pretty accessible. So.
Do you how popular are the stickers? I know that we use them for Green Geeks at the word camps, and they actually go pretty quick.
I actually haven't brought them to an event yet. I just got them a couple weeks ago, so we'll see how popular they are. But so far, my friends have been like, "Oh my god, I want one!" So
Cool.
I don't know.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah.
And homemade bookmarks too. The bracelets. Neo brings up the bracelets. You make bracelets too?
Yeah, I do. I make like like Taylor Swift makes these kind of like friendship bracelet things. I didn't make this one, but yeah, yeah, they've been really popular, and I think they're fun to have. I love having them and making them. So yeah, I've been making them and putting like not quotes necessarily, but different like sci-fi related things on it. Like for Star Trek or something, you would put like "To Boldly Go" or something like that. That kind of vibe. Like,
Cool.
yeah, they're fun. The last event that I went to had I brought all the gear to make bracelets with, so people could come and make them with me, and there were kids that like loved it.
Cool.
They were like so excited. So it was fun because I could, talk to people about my book while I make a bracelet with them. And I imagine that's not going to work forever because if I do a really busy event, there's no way that's going to make sense. But for smaller events, it's super fun.
Yeah, unfortunately I highly doubt that I'll be making bracelets and talking about my books with kids.
Yeah, that's fair. I work with kids, so I love doing that kind of stuff. Not that these books are not for kids, but like their parents, maybe.
Yeah, mine aren't.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. So, okay, so you invited me to join you at Read Between the Stars. That's the event we've been talking about, which I'm completely excited to
Yeah,
attend. Like, this is the first time I've
me
ever done
too.
one of these. Um,
Yeah.
hopefully, given if my books arrive in time, I still have to print them.
Yeah.
So how often do you set up events like this, and what has been the biggest one you've put together so far?
Well, this is my first one,
No.
so probably this.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That was easy.
I have gone. Yeah, I know. I've gone to events that are like similar sizes. I've volunteered at events that are like much bigger. But I know the reason I wanted to kind of start this one was I noticed that there were a lot of like all of the book events I was trying to kind of like apply for as an author were all romance specific, which is fine and great, but my books are not romance as the main genre. And I was thinking like, if I'm having this problem, there's probably other people that are having this problem too. Um, and so I posted on Threads just like out of the blue, like, hey, if I booked something, like, would anybody be interested? And like 30 people responded, and I was like, okay, shit, I guess I'll book something.
Yeah,
Um,
I know that
so
a couple of people that I followed jumped on the bandwagon almost immediately. So
yeah, it was really cool to see, and like a lot of them, almost all of them are Denver local. Um, all of them are Colorado local. There's I think a couple of people from Colorado Springs too. Um, yeah, I wanted something that was a little more sci-fi fantasy focused.
so
This,
it's weird that there's
I love
not.
romance, but I don't write it.
Well, there's. Well, I have a romantic scene
Yeah,
in my book, but it's definitely not romance.
yeah, me too. Yeah, I do too. It's sci-fi with a side of romance, but you know,
Well, you've got to have a love interest.
I just exactly right. Um, but yeah, there's like 9 authors total that are gonna do it so far. There's still space for a few more.
Yeah, and half of
So
them are going to
it's
be
not
on
a
my
huge
show
event,
the
but I'm
next
really
opening.
excited.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've got
So
you, Maddie, Ian, Drea.
yay!
So we're all
Yeah, that's
local.
cool. That's awesome. Sweet. Yeah, that's so cool.
So I was curious. I wonder how hard it would be to set up a live stream from it.
Honestly, I don't know. I think I feel like that might work better for like a panel discussion because this I was kind of picturing as like a vendor fair
Mm.
almost. We're all kind of in a room with our separate tables, and that's just based on like I did in another event there, and that was kind of how we did it. Because it's a community space, so it's not like giant. But I don't know.
Yeah,
If you have an idea, I'm like totally open to it.
I would try with my phone, but I'd rather have my
Yeah.
camera that I want. But I've done
I know.
fairs like that before. A business expo actually every year when I ran the computer center.
Yeah.
So that was set up in an arena on top of dirt
Yeah.
because we were out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. Yeah.
Where you make up your
It's
mind.
wild.
But so yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun. So
Yeah.
this is your first. How many of these fairs have you done in the past?
I went to one recently, like a month and a half ago, I want to say, um, as an author, but everyone else there were artists. So I was kind of like the odd one out, but it still went really well, and it was actually at the same space that Read Between the Stars is going to be at. So that was kind of
Yeah.
cool to like suss it out and see if it was going to work for my idea. But yeah, I'm new in the event space. I'm trying to get my foot in the door, and I have done many events at my day job, getting recitals together for kids.
Mm.
So I'm like, I've got a ton of experience with that, just not with the book side of things, with the author side of things. But
Yeah,
honestly, it's translating pretty well at this point.
I've done a few word camps for Green Gates. It's kind of like the similar thing, except for it's centered around WordPress. I don't know if you know what WordPress is,
Oh,
but
okay.
um,
Yeah.
I've gone to events across the country on behalf of Green Geeks. So I have done stuff like that before. But this is
Yeah.
this is the first time I've ever done it as an author, so it's kind of exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited. It seems like it's a lot of people's first events, so that's really cool and special that everybody was so interested in doing it. So
Yeah, I'm really
yeah.
So far, of the people I think I've seen about 4 or 5 that I actually interact with. That this could be like the first time I ever get to meet them. I'm like, that's kind of cool. So
I
I
know,
love
same.
networking.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm an
Yeah.
introvert, but once you get me in a professional setting, it's a whole different ballgame.
Or I mean, when you get authors talking about being authors, like everybody's super into that. Everyone's an extrovert, so
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I just hope I can meet some more that write darker stuff.
There's some people that write darker stuff for sure.
Sweet.
You won't be the only one.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. If someone in the audience is thinking about attending events like this, what would be a few things you would suggest outside of making sure your books are printed?
But like if someone's trying to
Yeah, trying
attend
to
it
get
as an
into it.
author,
So yeah, because I know that I looked them up. I googled a couple, and I guess there was one a few months ago that was here in Colorado that fell through. It
yes.
was kind of like the Fire Festival of book authors.
Yeah, that was that was Readers Take Denver,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Which I did volunteer at because I was trying to see if I wanted to be an author in 2025. Um, it went horribly wrong. It was just, long story short, way overbooked, way too many people, not enough organization, not enough training on the volunteers end, and it just was extremely stressful and not fun.
Yeah,
So
I missed it,
yeah,
but I saw the aftermath on Threads.
uh,
It's like, well, it's a good thing I missed
that's
that one.
actually I volunteered just for one day, and I was like, I left my volunteer shift early because I was like, this is like dangerous. Low key, there's so many people in this room. Like, if there were a fire, God forbid, I don't know what we would do. But I made so many connections with other local authors because of that. So, like, I guess it's
So a
a
little bit
blessing in
of
disguise.
a
Yeah,
danger was worth it.
I honestly, it made me a bunch of new writer friends that I didn't really have before, and like, I didn't realize there were so many local authors.
Yeah,
So
I
very
didn't either
cool.
until you posted that. Like, there's a lot more of us here than I thought there was.
Ah, yeah, same. That,
Like,
yeah,
I've
that was
met
wild.
so far. I've met people all the way from Fort Collins all the way as far south as Pueblo.
Mhm.
Like that covers almost the entire
Yeah,
state.
there's a lot of there are a lot of people here. Very interesting. Very cool.
But yeah,
But
so
I
how
would
would
say
how would you go about getting into one of those? Because like when I started was that um when I tried to Google it, it was like a lot of them were not quite what I was looking for. So, what would
Yeah.
be the best route?
Honestly, I have found a lot of like compiled lists of resources for authors, like with just like recurring events that you can sign up for. I'll try and I wish I had it handy. I'll try and find it, but just looking for things that people have already made, like lists of events that you can go to. I find that it takes a lot of like digging,
Hmm.
unfortunately, to
Yeah.
kind of like figure out what you want to do. I've had so much luck just like interacting with other authors on threads and Instagram and stuff. Now I have like author friends who will send me stuff and be like, "Hey, I don't write sci-fi, but you do, and like here's this thing that maybe you would want to do. I thought of you." Like
Yeah.
building a community, I guess, is my
Yeah.
biggest word of advice, which is something I'm still working on, but
Yeah.
like,
Well,
it's a process. It's a slow moving thing.
I think you're doing great. Um,
Thanks.
um, yeah, because you'd think it'd be more easier to find. I don't know. I think you
Yeah,
think Amazon or like Barnes and Noble or something would have a list of things to help, like a list of resources to help authors. And that's one of the things I'm doing on Writer
yeah,
Sanctuary is that I write reviews on every single app I use and everything I find,
yeah.
and I'm building a
That's awesome.
big list of shit people can use. So yeah, I guess I'll
That
have
is
to do some
something
digging.
yeah, that's something I'm trying to do as well. I publish a monthly, like, just email newsletter that has just kind of like my events and stuff I'm doing, but I was like, maybe I should include like free resources for other indie specific authors because I feel like I have just kind of had to figure it out. And if I would have had like a compiled list of like, here's like all the things you need to know putting your book on Amazon or whatever, like
Yeah.
that might have saved me some time. So I would like to do that for other authors as
Okay.
well. So
Well, yeah,
yeah,
that's why I built my website, was to help people. Right now I'm
yeah,
making a
totally.
series. I'm making a series on YouTube actually of every step
Mhm.
I'm taking to publish my next book, which is Shadows of Atlantic City. So,
Yeah,
and then I'm
yeah.
gonna break down all the
That's
tools and
mhm.
yep. Let's see. Maddie says Connie Willis, one of the most decorated sci-fi writers in the '80s, lives in Greeley. She's like 80, so I don't think she goes to
Oh,
events really.
oh my
Well,
God!
that's kind of cool.
Imagine she comes to read between the stars. That'd be crazy.
Well,
That's really cool.
I'm a dark fantasy author mostly, but I was heavily inspired and yeah, heavily inspired by Stephen King when I was growing up. Uh, I was
Totally.
12 when I read Night Shift, and then I read The Stand 5 times. So it's
Wow.
yeah, he's my hero. I don't
Yeah.
know if I could handle myself if he came to an event that I was at.
I don't know if I could handle myself if I saw him just like in the market, like the
Right?
supermarket.
I would fangirl too
I
hard.
would be, I would be starstruck. I would have to leave.
So let's see. I am a fan of the Readsy writing app. I've done quite a few videos on it. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I
Atticus.
love Reezy.
I love how Atticus's formatting ability is. And I'm
Mm,
also looking forward to trying AutoCrit, which helps with the editing process. Um,
okay.
what have been the best apps you used for writing and formatting your books?
Reezy, honestly. I haven't
Okay.
heard of the other two, so I'll have to check them out. But yeah, for ages I was writing on just like Google Docs, which is fine. But it's like a nightmare for formatting. And
Yeah.
I found Reedsy like when I was working on editing my first book, and I was like, oh my god,
Right.
this is my life has changed. My life was a before and after Reedsy discovery. So definitely Reedsy's my favorite for formatting. It's so easy. And at this point, I use it like I write my rough drafts on there too. And then when I edit, at least the first edit, I'll print out the entire thing and hand edit it and
Mm,
then type it up. And it's kind of like time consuming, but I just find like the editing ideas for the first draft especially
yeah.
just come so much easier for me that way.
Yep. I've done
Um,
quite a few tutorial on Readsy.
yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan. I did this for my second book. I'm a big fan of text to speech as well. I would just take it chapter by chapter and like have it read it out to me. And I
Mm,
found some weird mistakes that way. And
yeah.
just like dialogue that sounded like shit. So
Yeah.
I
That's
changed it.
one of the things I do. I read out a lot, read out loud.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons why my dialogue is so realistic, is because like if I'm reading it and I'm saying it out loud and it makes me cringe, it's getting rewritten.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was very briefly, I've lived I've lived many lives. I did acting in college. That was my minor.
Oh, fun.
Was theater, so I did a lot of acting. So I think that also helped me like
Oh yeah.
really learn what good dialogue sounds like and
Yeah, then you
realistic
can
dialogue too. 'Cause-
act out your scenes. You can get all kinds of feeling. That's actually a really
oh
good
yeah,
background for it.
yeah, I agree. Honestly, that's kind of how I work my outlines. Is
Mm,
it's literally just like a checklist of just like bullet points, and a lot of it is just like the dialogue is the stuff I end up keeping, and then the next checkpoint will be like describe what the sky looks like here, just like whatever prose I want to throw in there. But that helps me outline it super fast, especially when I have like a really clear scene of what action is happening in my head.
oh,
So
so you're an
yeah,
outliner. You're a plotter.
yes, I am a plotter. I wish I could just go for it, but I find myself writing in circles when I do that. So I really
Mm,
need to like
yeah, I'm
plot
a
it.
plotter too. I'll plot out the entire. I'll spend 2 hours, and I will create an outline of the entire book, and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
of course add and
Mm-hmm.
remove stuff as I go. But
Sure,
I
yeah.
find that having an outline prevents me from having issues like with writer's block. Like if I get stuck on a scene or
Oh,
something,
same.
I'll also write out of order. And I wrote the ending to Kingmaker before I even finished chapter one because I knew where it was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So then it just becomes
Uh,
a case of connecting the dots. So
totally, totally.
that's kind of cool. Yeah, Reedsy is actually the one. The masterclass is the one I took recently from Reedsy. So I got to
Okay.
meet Tom Bromley, and he's an author in Great Britain, and he's given
Yeah,
me some awesome suggestions and some awesome reviews. So it was the masterclass was amazing. But the writing app, yeah, I
that's
love
awesome.
Reedsy. Atticus,
Yeah.
Atticus is it. I don't necessarily like the way it writes books, but when it comes to
Mhm.
formatting, it is completely customizable. It is incredibly intuitive.
That's really cool. Okay.
And that's something I suggested because the CEO of Reedsy reached out to me last year, and it was after I did the pros and cons of Reedsy on YouTube, and one of the things I pointed out was the formatting. I wish there was more options in formatting the book, because in Reedsy you only got the
Yeah.
3 1s there, and so he's
Yeah.
like he took notes. So I'm like, awesome.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully
That's
Reedsy comes out
awesome.
with something cool soon.
That'd be super awesome. I like the formatting they have is great, but it would be really cool if it was a little more customizable. But I'll check out Atticus because that
Yeah.
sounds cool too.
Yep, it's Atticus unfortunately doesn't have a free version. You have to it's $150 to buy
Mm.
it outright, but it's only the one-time fee. And
Okay.
yeah, the formatting on it is amazing. You can do
Okay.
so much with it.
That's cool.
So yeah, I think that's kind of cool that there's other. Do you like use the goals and the deadline tool on Reedsy?
Honestly,
No.
no. I just do it myself, and I also find that like sometimes setting a goal that just honestly doesn't work for me. Like sometimes I'll be like, this book is due on Christmas Day, and then if it's not, like I don't want to. If it's not done, it's not done. You know, like
I'm a
so.
dork. I quantify
Not to
everything.
say I don't have goals, but I just
Yeah,
kind of don't worry too much. You know,
that's cool.
I would much rather have my story feel done
Yeah.
than feel. I've felt rushed before to meet goals that I've made, and I'm just like,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if that makes sense for me right now. So
I have said that many times that I would rather have a book.
yeah,
I would rather write, or I'd rather produce a well-written book than one that was rushed. So,
yeah, exactly.
Neo says, with TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, you seem to be more active on Instagram. What are your plans for promoting your books on all three platforms, or do you plan on narrowing down on platforms?
Um, honestly, yeah, I have been the most active on Instagram. I have tried like cross posting on like TikTok and Instagram, and I have just for some reason like found the most engagement happening on Instagram, and like threads
Hmm.
is like huge too for me.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm not like super planning on putting a ton of my energy into TikTok. Um, I don't know, that could change in the future, but like Instagram and threads seems to be growing and like working really well for me. So I'm kind of just like sticking with that.
Yeah, that seems to be
So
a common theme with all the other authors I've interviewed
yeah,
this year so far. I think there's only one that actually uses TikTok.
yeah. I think like they're always gonna come out with. There's always gonna be a next like hot app or whatever, and
Mm,
so Instagram and Threads is it right now, but I'm sure it won't be forever. So I'm cool to ride that train for the moment.
yeah.
So
Michael has a TikTok but doesn't use his. Yeah, I have a TikTok account. I
yeah,
haven't made a single video.
yeah. I have a handful of videos on there, but like I don't. They just don't get engagement. But
Yeah,
I
I
think
find.
my like.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think I've found like a ton of just a big author community on Threads. Like it's
Yeah,
huge for that. I don't know why,
yeah, I get
but
far more engagement on Threads than I ever did on Twitter.
yeah, it's crazy. Oh, Twitter, I don't use Twitter. What was the third one? Yeah, I don't use Twitter
um,
anymore.
I have.
I did briefly, and again, just didn't really get much engagement out of it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I still have my Twitter account and Facebook. I rarely ever get messages from unless it's like 4 or 5 hours later. But I still like my
yeah.
blog and the YouTube channel and everything is automatically posts to Twitter, so it looks like I'm active.
So yeah. Same with me. With like, I have my Instagram like cross post everything to Facebook, and
Yeah,
the only reason I still have my Facebook up is because I have like grandparents and relatives
yeah,
who are not going to go on Instagram, and so
yep,
like they would not know what I was doing if I didn't cross post to Facebook too.
yep.
So
That's how I feel. Mom, my mom is only active on Facebook, so
yeah,
like that's one of the cool features of Instagram. I think is that you can post not just to Facebook but to
yeah,
different accounts too. So like I have Crossing
oh
Colorado,
yeah,
which is another YouTube channel I have. And so when I post something on Instagram, I can post it to Writer Sanctuary, Crossing Colorado, and then Facebook. So it's kind of
yeah.
cool.
That's awesome.
But I get far more engagement on Threads.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's see.
Yeah,
So
it's nuts. I don't know why.
if you had one solid bit of advice you'd like to share with new authors, what would it be? For me, it's obvious. One of my things is never give up, never surrender. I don't give up on anything. So what would your
Um,
your catchphrase be, so to speak? Oh, I almost did the pirate voice there.
yeah, I would say. I mean, honestly, my first thought was kind of similar to yours. Just believe that you can do it. Um, for the longest time, my like ultimate goal in my life was to, because I always wanted to be a writer, but my ultimate goal was like I just want to have like a poem published or like a short story published. And I was submitting all the time, and I have a couple like just poems and short stories published in like little tiny chat books and stuff, which is super cool. But when that was my goal, never ever did I think that I would be able to like publish a whole novel or publish multiple novels or have strangers reading my books. Like it's still, I'm like, guys, like everybody chill. So that would be my advice, is just like there is no reason why you can't also do it, whether it's through the traditional publishing route or indie, and there's like totally no shame in going indie.
No.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
oh, alrighty. Well, it is 7:55. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns they'd like to bring up to Marisa before we call it a night? Thank you very much for being on the show. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah, this was
really.
super fun.
Don't forget that if you're in the if you're in the Denver metro Lakewood area on October 20th,
Mm-hmm.
Marisa and I will both be at Read Between the Stars, located at D3 Arts.
Yes.
If you need the
Mm-hmm.
address to that, I have a blog post on WriterSanctuary.com's website where I actually put the map so you can find it easily. I think that's about it, though. It was a lot of fun.
Yay.
I'm really looking forward to checking out your
Yeah.
books. And
Yeah.
don't forget to send me that link to your fan fiction. I gotta check it out.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, I will.
Because I like
Thank you
stuff
so
like
much.
that.
This was super fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're welcome. It was anytime. Maybe we can be on again when your book comes out.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And I'll try to figure out if we can do a live stream from D3. I still think at least just to show just how much fun it is. So
yeah, I think that would be super cool. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
Awesome.
thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Well, thank you so much. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.